What's up, everybody? I hope you guys are having a wonderful, excellent, and amazing Saturday. Unfortunately, for many people, it's exceptionally freezing outside. And so that makes some people depressed and makes some people angry or feel bad or poor or crappy or just altogether not feeling great. And I know that's the facts for a lot of people. There's a lot of people who love the outside, who love the winter, who love the cold and the incessant snowing. They love it. They really appreciate it. There's a lot of people who do, but there's also a lot of people who don't. And so for those of you that don't, take heart, friends, because spring is literally just around. For those of you you like winter and you're sad that spring is going, remember that as soon as spring is over, as soon as spring is over, summer, fall, and then winter again. And so don't lose track of, don't lose sight of the horizon. Don't lose sight of where we're going, right? When we were on these long ruck marches in the military, that was what we would use to keep ourselves motivated. And again, sorry for the poor connection. Everything is terrible and the world's falling apart. I wanted today to talk about a very controversial subject. It's controversial for some weird reasons. The subject of today's podcast is Be Real. You can visit timothylocklear.com for more archives of podcasts, some graphic design, some different stuff there. I'm a veterans advocate. I do everything I can to help veterans gain safe access to legal, legitimate medicine, resources, therapy, and all sorts of different things that can help a veteran in a homeopathic way seek true freedom from their time in the service. Right? That's what I want for the veterans. I work with an organization called Veterans for Natural Rights, and that is veteransfornaturalrights.org. We're also on Facebook. And what we do is basically what I just said: the legislation, the discussion, the politics, the context, all those things. Literally hands-on helping veterans, helping them gain access to resources through the VA, helping them manage all of the different things and issues related to their time in service, right? Those are really hard things to do, and it's hard as hell to do alone. And so what we try to do as often as we can and as much as we can is get these veterans and get them connected. We get them on hikes, right? We get them on sort of camping trips where they can go out and about and they can get out and they can experience camaraderie like they used to have in the military. They can have an opportunity to talk their time in service and what they're dealing with, and they can do it in a safe environment. And that's what we're trying to create, is a safe environment. So for more information about that, visit that place. It's cool. Also, check out BorisAServiceDog.com. As a combat veteran, I have come back with issues related to my time in service and have found that my dog, Boris, has helped me. Boris has given me back the ability to function on a normal level in society. It's weird because if you knew me before, then you would be like, hey, why do you have a dog with you all the time? Like, why are you toting around a dog with you? And that's a funny thing, right? That's an odd thing. It can seem odd to some people because I've done that. I've met people who are not at all really into the understanding of like a veteran kind of thing. And so then I get to talking with them, and then they're like, oh, why do you have a dog with you? Like, you didn't have a dog before, you know? Like, when I knew you before, you never had a dog, so why do you have one now? So you can visit ada.gov for more information about what a service dog does for different people. My particular disability, Boris helps me immensely. Insomnia, PTSD, the waking up at night, those kinds of things. These are all different things, and it varies from different veteran to different veteran, or person to person. It's not just veterans that use service animals. People with blood sugar issues, or people with seizure issues, they all use and can use service animals, and it's been proven that service animals can help those types of people with those types of issues, right? So BorisTheServiceDog.com is the website for that. I'll stop talking about my amazing dog, who, by the way, in case you were wondering, doesn't speak English because he doesn't talk, because he's a dog. So the next time you see a dog in public, remember that they don't speak English, so you just leave them alone, and it'll be good. You know, you guys can just you go on about your day, and you greet the handler just like you would any other time. So moving on and moving forward, in the comments section here, I posted a whole slurry of words, but the first one right on top is PTSD and cops. So I'm going to pause here real quick and say that the colloquial term cop is not oftentimes used in a good way. It's sometimes used in a pejorative manner, in a pejorative way, and I don't like it at all. I don't appreciate it. I don't appreciate it for a variety of different reasons, and this is going to piss some people off, but I have good friends who are in law enforcement who share my opinions in a variety of different subjects. So if you share my opinions in a variety of different subjects, you may find yourself surprised that you also identify with my friend who happens to be vocationally a law enforcement officer. And that particular law enforcement officer who I've had the opportunity, pretty intimate and personal discussions where we've had the opportunity to really talk about, like, how hard is it doing your job, you know? And I've had the opportunity to talk to several different people in several different career fields, where people who are corrections officers, people who are on the street, people who are in a cruiser, people who are working in the jails. I've had opportunities to EMTs, paramedics, flight medics, and even private security. I was a private security officer for many years. I was not a police officer by any means, and under any circumstances, whatever. But the overwhelming thing that I'm hearing from these people is, wow, this job sucks. You know? Wow, this job is tough. Because a lot of them are having to enforce laws maybe they don't agree with. They're having to deal with people who don't want to deal with them. I think that's clearly apparent. A lot of people. And I mean, it's understandable to a degree. Why? To a degree. Because we see or have seen so many, whether true or not, examples of where members of law enforcement have, inappropriately in some way. And there's discrepancies, and there's riots, and there's a lot of angry people. And there's two sides to every story, and everybody's yelling and screaming. It begins to get monotonous after a while. Both sides end up sort of canceling each other out, and nothing ever really gets done. No change really. And so it becomes more and more difficult as the years go on, and the further we get from issues like we had in Ferguson, or all of these, that song 16 Shots, where these people are getting killed, and people are talking about wanting to kill cops, and the law enforcement side of it, there's some steps that they've made where it's made it more difficult for people to support them because they take. It's a difficult problem for sure, but here's what I know beyond I know that many law enforcement officers do what they do because they believe that what they're doing is right. If given the opportunity and a little bit of decent and reasonable communication, might be able to undo some of the errors, some of the breakdowns in communication. And so I apologize for the bad communication here, the bad police officers and EMT and paramedics and a lot of these security officers and a lot of people suffer from PTSD as a result of what they've experienced. So we have to take that into consideration too. It has to be part of the discussion, right? Because while we can't 100% agree with everything that police officers do, we can't and we won't, while we don't have to, what we can do, what we can say is these are human beings, and many of them, many of the ones that I've met, are doing what they're doing because they care. They're not doing it because they want to harm people. Yes, I do believe there are police officers who are bullies. I believe that fully and completely. And if you're a police officer and you're a bully, you shouldn't do that. But also, if you're any kind of a human being and you're a bully, that's bad and you shouldn't do it. The first article from Newswise, which I don't know the source, but it seemed reasonable. Out of Buffalo, New York, police officers are often called to situations that require a quick decision: fire a shot and risk harming or killing innocent bystanders. Don't fire, and there's the potential for being killed in the line of duty. These decisions are often made in the blink of an eye, making it difficult for any officer to accurately process all of the information. But how are the decisions of police with even minor symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder affected? A new study at the University of Buffalo aims to find out. Researchers are working with a sample of members of the Buffalo Police Department on a 3-year, $814,000 study being funded by the U.S. Department of Justice National Institute of Justice. Wow, man. That's wild. That's a lot of money. Seems like maybe we should spend more money on studying the effects of PTSD on combat in any way, because that's what a lot of these, unfortunately, these law enforcement officers are forced to experience on a daily friggin' basis, man. And I got to come home from Iraq, you guys. I came home from Iraq. A lot of these cats didn't. A lot of these guys did not. Okay? And so I just really, really, really think it's important to frame our discussion correctly. Because the number of human beings that I have seen kill the cops, I've seen them say those words, it's stupidity. It's idiotic, okay? You don't have any idea what you're saying. When you say those words, you're beyond yourself, okay? I understand how terrible it can feel. I am very, very, very aware of the fear of penalized and being judged and I know that fear very well, very, very well, very well. That doesn't mean I want to kill police officers that did their job. I don't like they were doing their job, and I would admonish in a very kind and considerate way for them to quit their job or find a better job, or perhaps consider a different employment, just because of the nature of the laws in this country that you're required to support, given the fact that you're working to defend what state claims to be wrong. And man, you got all kinds of bureaucracy. Man, you should maybe think about leaving a career. I don't know. Especially if you've got some sort of conflict, some sort of emotional conflict in your heart where you're like, I don't know if I can keep putting people in jail for this thing or that thing, or keep penalizing people for that, or it's got to be a very difficult process. Excuse me. It's got to be terrible. I'm going to take a drink of water here just a second. You should drink more water. And while I'm drinking water, real quick, go to ada.gov. ADA, Alpha Delta Alpha. That's American Disabilities Act.gov. Go visit that real quick. I'm going to take a drink of water. Hold on. Oh, look, guys, there's Dakota coming in with the good joke. Waka waka. No, that was a really good joke there, Dakota. We're on a live broadcast here. And if you'd like more information about the local, I know the water's amazing. It's Berkey water, by the way. I don't get paid by these people, but if you guys want good, clean, natural, good-tasting water, go buy a Berkey. It's worth the investment. Trust me. They're amazing. My buddy Nick Evans used ones. We have one. Friend Stephanie and Justin in Minnesota have one. They're amazing. For more information about the local advocacy work that we're doing here to help veterans, to help people, you can visit BorsaServiceDog.com. You can go to TimothyLocklear.com or VeteransForNaturalRights.org. The reason all those things exist is to help people. It's not to get any attention on any human beings. I just happen to be a representative. I'm sort of become the sort of ipso facto communications guy for Veterans for Natural Rights. I love Matt a lot. He's helped me, and I appreciate all the work he's doing, and I just feel like I want to help him. I want to keep helping him. In fact, right now, him and a bunch of other dudes are going into Colorado, and they're having a big meeting, and they're going to talk to a bunch of people. It's going to be banging. It's going to be awesome. They're going to have a bunch of fun and get some good therapy, and that's what you guys need, by the way. I had a great chance to do that yesterday, and it was stupendous. I went to let's see, where do we go? We went to the South Omaha Trail and then connected up with a field club trail, And it was just great. I went with a buddy of mine, Shane, and thank you so much, Shane. I appreciate it. It was amazing. It was just amazing. We just shared. So if any of you guys are Stephen King fans, right? There's a term, and this is gonna go. You guys should Google this if you hear it, and if you're interested. It's called sharing kef or keef. Kef is a term where you're sharing sort of communication and energy one to another, but you can only share kef when you are inside of a quartet, right? A part of a quartet. It's a whole thing from the Dark Tower series, and that's what it felt like. Shane and I really went on some deep emotional levels, which really opened me up and helped me feel really just strong and feel really good. And so I came home and I was able to take the kids outside, which was amazing for like, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. And I brought home burgers from Freddy's. I know I'm a fat human slug, but oh my gosh, you guys, Freddy's is so stupendous. It's, if you guys have never had Freddy's custard, it's like Culver's custard, but they're butter burgers and they're hot dogs. Oh my gosh, they're so amazing with the onions and the lettuce. Oh, it's stupendous. It's ridiculously good. And I'm not paid by Berkey or Freddy's, but they're both great places that you should consider giving money to. Although don't do a lot of Freddy's, because that'll make you fat. Do more of the Berkeys. Drink more water and eat significantly less Freddy's. But maybe just try it, because it's really, really good. It's great. I don't know how the heck we got off course here. It's completely 100% your fault, Dakota. We're, again, on a live broadcast. Kevin said, look up Weed for Warriors out of Grass Valley, California, helping with PTSD. Appreciate it, Kevin. Absolutely, man. Natural medicine's an exceptionally proven tool. The internet will show you. The government will tell you different, but I disagree. I think it's an exceptional medicine, and I can't wait for the opportunity for more people in the world to be able to view it the same way. But listen, I want to get back to the point here. This is actually kind of a real big thing. We got police officers. And again, I don't like the colloquial term cops. I don't appreciate it just because it's usually used pejoratively. People usually throw it. You know what I mean? It's like, I won't repeat the bit, but basically the way you word things, really, really matters. It really, really, really matters. Like if yeah, thank you, Dakota. Here, again, Dakota just commented. He said Weed for Warriors is a great group too. Absolutely. These are great organizations. We appreciate them. They are good organizations to help veterans. Absolutely. So the thing is police officers, law enforcement, corrections officers, EMT, paramedics, these people are experiencing combat-style trauma in their lives, right? I did it in a place where it's way not my life, way away. And that's why I'll never live in California, Arizona, anywhere close to south of Pueblo, Colorado. I'm not really interested in it because it's just so much like the desert, and I'm not down with that, man. That arid, dry, I can't handle it. Personally, it's just not my bag, right? I'm looking northwest, dry, like wet and ocean and green and tall trees and all that good stuff. But the point I'm trying to get at is I left my combat zone back in the combat place. But these guys here are living life with literally no freedom, no peace, no break, nothing. They don't have any means of getting away from their combat. And for some of these police officers, they live in the communities where they have to do things that maybe they don't actually necessarily ethically agree with to a degree. And, like I said, I was not a police officer, but I did security for a very long time. I was armed and all that, and my buddy Nick Evans was as well. And I just can't imagine it. I can't imagine doing it. I mean, doing security right now, I did my buddy's wedding, my buddy Luis' wedding. Not his wedding, his brother's. And it was just me and one of my other vet buddies, and I was carrying and he was carrying, and it was good, and we were carrying our normal gear, and everything was fine, everything was great. But the thing was, it was like, it was nerve-wracking because I felt like I'm now responsible and culpable for this whole situation here, and man, that's a heavy load, right? But then imagine that, but real life all the time, everywhere you go, right? Like, you can't go shopping without seeing somebody you collared for speeding or some meth head you pulled over, and now they want to eat, they want to kill your family and eat your baby, Now, and so it's such a crappy place to be because we need people, right? We need people to protect innocent people. whatever those persons are called, we need them, right? If we lived in a tribe, if we lived in a village in the middle of Papua New Guinea, in the jungles, right? And there were bad people in the village. Like, let's say there's just 30. Now let's make it even smaller. Let's say there's 10 people in this whole village. That's it. That's us. That's the whole village. Here we are, right? And we're there, and we're just in the village, and we're doing stuff. And then let's just say Bob starts kicking babies in the face, right? And it's like, hey, Bob, stop it. Don't do that. And Bob's like, I'm going to keep doing it. And Bob keeps drinking the boobla boobla wine and kicking babies in the face. And so us men walk over and we punch Bob in the face until he stops kicking babies, right? Why? Because we're good people and Bob shouldn't do that. Why? Because that's an innocent little baby. Don't do that, Bob. Stop it. If you do that again, I'm going to punch you so hard you won't get back up, Bob, because you can't keep hurting babies, Bob. That's not okay. You can't do that. Why? Because of ethics, Bob. That's why. Right? And that's what a village would look like. Well, now we have sort of this different class system where we have certain people do certain jobs and fill certain roles, whereas other people do certain jobs and fill other roles, right? And so we have subcontracted to a degree, to an element, our responsibility or our duty to a degree to protect or take care of our tribe fellowmen, right? Our tribes people, our kids, or whatever, right? So now, flash forward to 2018, we've got people kicking babies in the face, proverbially and or literally, who knows? I don't know. God, I hope not. I don't ever want to go to see that Daily Motion video. Ugh. And instead of grabbing Bob by the throat and kicking him in the, cloaca, we call the police. Which is fine. I'm good with that. I signed on for this situation. I was born into it without my permission, but I'm all right with it, right? I'm good with that sort of how we're rolling. I'm all right with that. That's good. We're good with this. This is all right, I'm not going to trip too much. I'm not going to freak out. I'm all right with this, right? But then there becomes this weird paradigm shift where I want to do things, or my friends, or my people, or people in my tribe want to do things that the other people that we've subcontracted our responsibilities to now say we can't do. Or some of them do and some of them don't. But bigger people than them, like tribes people who are older or something, or that we've given some kind of special authority to, they've said that these other things are bad to do. Which I want to say I mostly agree with. Rape isn't wrong because it's illegal. Rape is wrong because it's an invasion of the inalienable rights of a human being, right? That's why it's wrong. And that's wrong. So murder is also wrong, not because it's illegal, right? But it's illegal because it's wrong, right? And so murder is wrong because it's the invasion of the inalienable rights of a human being ending in its existence, right? Murder is wrong. That's why it's wrong. And so it's not about my moral code or your moral code. We unanimously agree as human beings on this earth that it is absolutely opposed to our existence to tolerate and or allow kicking babies in our tribe. We can't do that. Or, throwing people off of bridges or stabbing them in the face or blowing them up. We can't do that. Why? Because it's going to hurt us as a whole. It's bad. We know that. We see that. That's bad. Our morals tell us that. It's bad to do. So now we call the police to come and deal with this issue, this problem. And we trust them to do it. But man, it's like, it's a weird place. So just realize that police officers have PTSD, man. And I have it too, dude. And I'm telling you what, if I had to work a job that a police officer does without PTSD, forget that mess, dude. That would suck. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. It would be living life in combat forever. A quote from the article says here, PTSD, again, this is Newswise. I posted the article, the link up there. It's pinned right to the top there. So PTSD is known to affect brain circuits associated with attention, decision-making, inhibitory control. Oh my God, right? How much would you say that a police officer would need attention or focus or decision-making skills? How much would you think that would be an essential component of being a police officer? How much? I think it's the first things that I would say. Let's see. Can you pay attention well? How do you make decisions? Do you lose your inhibitions really well? Like, that would be the first 2 or 3 things I would get right to. I would get right to that. Adding that officers who have more severe PTSD symptoms likely will have greater dysregulation of the brain systems that control attention and responsivity. Oh my God. Oh my God. That's amazing. That's intense. If another quote up here from this person named Violanti in the quote from Newswise says, if proper steps are taken by the police organizations to help officers with high PTSD symptoms to get help, the number of problematic decisions on the street will be substantially reduced. Semicolon, add in Tim Locklear. You should also be doing jiu-jitsu every freaking week, at least 2 or 3 times a week. At least, at a minimum, if you are in law enforcement or in any kind of a way interacting or engaging in a physical way with civilians or citizens of this great country, you should be practicing jiu-jitsu. It should be required by the country 2 or 3 times a week. That should be part of your job. Why? Because it creates focus. It ensures that your ego isn't too swollen. It ensures that you're not going to be a bully on the streets, because you can't be a bully on the mat. When you're training with a guy, a good guy, he won't let you be a bully. He won't. My homies that I roll with won't let me be a jerk. Not for too long, at least. I might get a few words off before they pin me to the mat and remind me to be real, Tim. You're not a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Be real, dude. Sit down. Let's learn this. Let's go over that drill over and over. Which, by the way, you guys, if anybody you listening, Monday. The doctor said I can roll on Monday. I'm going back to jiu-jitsu on Monday. Hopefully. That's my goal. Hopefully, Monday, I'll be in jiu-jitsu. I'm thinking Monday morning, maybe Monday night. I don't know. But that's the thing, is like I'm getting back into jiu-jitsu again. I've been sick. I've been ill. I've been broken. Whatever. Life sucks. It's stupid. So the thing is this article is really crazy how it correlates. You could actually take out the word law enforcement and just put in veteran, and it's the exact same. So I think there's a large number of veterans who absolutely 100% don't even, maybe Monday night, Nick, that's what's up, yeah. A lot of people don't realize that police officers are dealing with this stuff. It's really tough. It's really difficult. Please think about them before you open your big fat mouths. Please, okay? Just do that. Just shut up and do that for a minute, would you? Would you just look at it? I mean, would you just look at it? Would you look at that? Would you look at that? Trees can save your life. Trees are known to create an environment that helps us breathe easier, think more clearly, and generally provide a mental and emotional lift. Japanese people, for instance, have been forest bathing for generations. That was a really weird quote. It's semi-racist, not intentionally. Check out the article, though. It's super cool. It basically talks about going out and being with the trees. It talks about the relationship between the trees. Trees are known to create an environment that helps us breathe easier, think more clearly, and generally provide a mental, emotional lift. A recent study led by scientists from the U.S.-based Nature Conservancy, Cornell University, and the Brazilian government found... Oh, there you go, the Brazilians. What up, jiu-jitsu? Brazilian government found that adding more trees to planet Earth was the number one solution of 20 land-based actions that, if implemented, could cut greenhouse emissions by a third, blah, 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 blah. Basically, trees are good. So, like, remember earlier I was talking about treatments for PTSD and how you should be in jiu-jitsu if you're in law enforcement? Hey, by the way, speaking of jiu-jitsu, what's up? Justin Bartles, we're on a live broadcast. What's up? I really miss rolling with you. I'm coming back Monday night. Hopefully everything works out. I'll maybe have Nick with me, and maybe I'll bring Shane with me too, and hopefully we'll have a good time. The article I'm talking about here basically is stating that there's a huge relationship between trees and human beings. The idea of human health and growth, nurtured by healthy interactions with the earth, is catching on, it says. It's catching on, it says. I don't know what that means. But I do know that yesterday I spent an exorbitantly large amount of time with the trees, and it undid a lot of dumb things in my head, right? That's really, really what it was. So if you live in a city, you should find a park and go spend some time around a tree. Sit down on the grass. Do that. It's really interesting. It's really interesting, good medicine. Spend time around other human beings that like the trees. That's even better. Even better. Moving on to something way more freaking important, in my opinion. I don't know if you guys would agree or not. The Mississippi Urine Trouble Act. Hold up, you guys. Oh my god. Oh, Fox News, they're killing me. The Mississippi urine. I can't make this up. I can't. This is stupid. This is so dumb. The Mississippi Urine Trouble Act would ban the sale or use of synthetic human urine for the purpose of defrauding a drug test, including one for employment. Republican. No way. It's a Republican saying something stupid. Shut up, Tim. That's mean. No, Democrats and Republicans both equally say ridiculous things, just to be clear. The two-party system is flawed. Andy Gipson, who sponsored the legislation in Mississippi State House, says that the problem may provoke laughter. Ha ha ha. Oh, but it's not a laughing matter. It's actually a serious situation, he says. Artificial human urine is being sold and used by at least some to deceive and to defraud on drug tests, Gipson told Fox News in his office at the state capitol. Oh, man. Let's give it up for Andy Gipson for really going head on at the problems facing our nation. Thank you. Thank you, Andy. No, really. You're really doing us well. You know, you're representing us well. The Mississippi Urine Trouble Act. I don't even know. You guys, if you go to the article, there's a video. It's really gross because this state representative holding up a bottle of fake pee, saying this is what's facing our. It's truly a safety issue for our company, like other companies in the state of Mississippi that have workers that are sometimes in dangerous environments. Synthetic urine is used or trying to mask a drug test is very alarming to me when we start seeing it show up on random drug tests. It's just ridiculous. I mean, look, I'm not saying people should go to work on any kind of a drug that's going to inhibit their ability to do the work. Oh my gosh, don't do that. Heaven forbid. Zoloft, Prozac, Klonopin, Trazodone, Lorazepam, Percocet. Those are good though, right? Shut up, Tim. Shut up. You're just... At least 13 states have laws banning the sale or use of artificial urine for drug testing purposes. Colorado is also considering a similar resolution. State Representative Gipson said he's hopeful the bill will be taken up by the state Senate due to the overwhelming bipartisan support it received in the state House. And the Mississippi State Senate Judiciary Committee has until February 27th. It's just blah, 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 blah. That's all it is. This Mr. Gipson here, I hope he quits. I do. I hope he quits his job and goes into something different. Yeah, just something different. Again, we're on a live broadcast today, guys. If you are listening live, that's cool because you're amazing. And if you're not and you're listening later, that's cool also. Please visit timothylocklear.com to visit archives of our old podcasts, some of the stupid design stuff I've done, stuff about my dog, BorisTheServiceDog.com. He's amazing. He doesn't talk. All dogs don't talk, in fact. So don't see a dog in public and think you can talk to him because they don't talk. They can't speak to you. Remember that. Also, live podcast, Nick Evans added 2 handfuls of cashews equal to 1 dose of Prozac. Hashtag Google it. Moving on. Listen, guys, did I already mention KFC? Did I already mention the fact that KFC is running out of chickens, you guys? And it's still a problem, you guys? I mean, people across the nation, people that are looking for bowls of cigarette butts and ashtrays and socks and lint and what else comes in those gravy bowls? Gravy. And they're wanting those with the mashed potatoes, but they can't get it with the chicken. They can't because there's no chickens. KFC are left with hundreds of restaurants closed while DHL try and run the whole operation out of one distribution center. 3 weeks ago, KFC knew they had they made a terrible mistake. There's no more chickens. It's so disgusting. I just feel like it really doesn't matter. You know, I maybe I'm a heartless, insensitive jerk. Because it's like, you know, they're like, well, Tim, what about all these people, right? What about all these people who are, you know, without their KFC? What about them? What about them? Semicolon, stop eating KFC. I don't know. Look, I'm not judging. I'm not judging. You eat what you want, dude. I had Freddy's today, okay? I am a fat, slub, disgusting palate garbage pail when it comes to what I like to eat and don't eat. I've gotten a lot better as I've gotten more natural. Your body craves what you give it. You Google that stuff, it'll come up with some good jazz. You should do it, okay? Your body will crave what you give it. So the more you eat quality food, better things, the better it is. The better, right? The better, right? That's how that works. I can't believe this is news, but they've set up a basic... I'm going to go to the website. I'm going to go there because it just looks so amazing. But KFC has set up a website for their... for people to complain, basically, about the shortages of chicken. I just don't even know. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. Moving on. If you haven't noticed, we live in a country where the issue and discussion of prescription medication juxtaposed up against cannabis is a very real discussion. It's real. It's happening, okay? I happen to live in a state where it's illegal, and the times that I've had the opportunity to use it in states where it is legal, I've found it to be exceptionally therapeutic for myself. But the discussion is happening around the country no matter what, okay, you guys? It's happening. And we have to have the discussion. We do. We have to have the discussion. It's important to have the discussion. Because if we don't, if we just completely go around it because of the state we live in, well, then we're just being idiots. We're literally being dumb. We're being stupid, right? We're just removing ourselves from any kind of like viable, good, reasonable discussion. The reason we're losing that ability to have that discussion is because we're being idiots. We're saying, well, no, we're straight edge, so we're just gonna, we're not even gonna have the discussion. No, let's talk about it. Right now, Fox News reported Las Vegas airport offers weed disposal bins for travelers who are holding. Okay. First of all, Michael Bartiromo, you shut up. Thanks for the pejoratives. For millions of people across the world, this thing that they're calling here, this weed, that actually is a medicine for millions of people, literally. Children across the world use it for their seizures. They use it for medicine all over the world. But here on Fox News, 23 hours ago, they can say Las Vegas airport offers weed disposal bins for travelers who are holding. I just feel like that's sort of like when a newscaster is watching, like a sports newscaster is watching a black athlete play, two black athletes, and he makes a comment about how fast they are. And one of the sportscasters looks back at the other and is like, we can't say that, but then they just scoot right over it as if they never said it, right? But that's kind of what that's like. It's like Fox News hates weed. Conservatives traditionally and historically are opposed to the legalization of cannabis. I don't mean that to sound bad. That's a truth statement. Very true. Hashtag Jeff Sessions. I'm going to drink some more Berkey water. I don't get paid by them, but if anybody out there from Berkey's listening, I'll totally take a sponsor ad. Because it's amazing and you should be drinking more water. I even let my dog drink Berkey water sometimes because it's better. And he matters, right, Boris? Oh, that's right. He doesn't talk because dogs don't talk. If you see a dog in public, they don't talk. So there's this literal, if you go to the website, there's literally a bin, a big green bin. It says disposable for prescription and recreational drugs. Oh, wait. So the article says that it's for weed. The bin says it's for disposal of prescription and recreational drugs. So there could be people putting MDMA, all kinds of natural, like shrooms and all kinds of stuff. They could put an acid and pills. They could put whatever they want in there. Tourists leaving Las Vegas can now dispose of their leftover legally purchased marijuana at specially designated bins outside the McCarran International Airport, rather than hastily smoking it before the flight or just donating it to a, quote, chill bro on the way out of town. Boy, this writer, man, he gets it. Man, he knows where the world is. He's got his eyes and ears really tapped into what's going on. I say pejoratively or jokingly or sarcastically, I don't know. The green receptacles, of which there are 13 so far, have been bolted to the ground in high-traffic, quote-unquote, areas outside the airport and its car rental area. The Las Vegas Sun is reporting. Oh. Well, thanks for that. The Department of Aviation moved to install the bins, or amnesty boxes, after Clark County instituted a ban on marijuana possession and advertising at McCarran back in September. So there's going to be big boxes of weed in airports all over Las Vegas. That's great. Well, not just weed, though. I mean, according to what this box says, it's disposable prescription and recreational drugs. It's like, you're kidding me, right? You're kidding me. In 2017, tourists who neglected to dispose of their leftover marijuana before leaving at the McCarran would have to deal with Las Vegas Metro Police, who would ultimately determine if the tourist was carrying a felony amount. However, Officer Aiden Acampo Gomez of the Las Vegas Police Force said, that's like a movie name, said no citations have been issued stemming from the airport's new ordinances on marijuana possessions and advertising, passed in September. It's just a thing. I don't know. I just feel like maybe at some point we got to have the discussion and deal with the issue. Ian still added on the live podcast, meanwhile, Missouri special needs kids with epilepsy are denied access and their families are threatened with criminal charges or losing custody of their children. Right? Absolutely. It's so terrible. It's so terrible. It's I don't know. My opinion is a lot. I have a lot of opinions, and ultimately they can be summarized by saying if there's a victim, then there's a crime. I feel like that has to happen. You know, there's got to be a victim here. So I just figure out if the victim is the state, how is the state being victimized? And if the state isn't being victimized, then no one is being victimized, and then that would just lead to it not being a crime. That's what we're looking at here, is that it's really not a crime. Now, I understand there's a lot of people who disagree with that. I understand there's a lot of people who say, well, Tim, it is an illegal substance. Or it does make you psycho. Can make you, it makes your brain different. It's a psychoactive substance. THC can make you this and that and all these things. First of all, the majority of the people that I know that talk about things like that, the majority of them themselves are opposed to that form of natural medicine. Most of them. And so when they're speaking, it's clearly from an adverse position. They're clearly from a slanted position, which is fine. I'm not opposed to it. I make arguments from slanted positions all the time. I think people wearing clothes is a good thing, and that's a slanted position, meaning I don't want you showing my kids your situation. That's a fact. I'm opposed to not wearing clothes. I am, just generally, in most cases. And so because of that, I'll be supportive laws that would penalize Dakota Moore, that would penalize people for taking their clothes off. It's just a normal thing. That's a normal human, it's 2018 kind of thing, It just seems like at a certain point, the discussion is less about values and ethics and morals. Because I've never met personally. So shut up if you're going to tell me that you know some guy who did you wrong in some place in some backwoods country. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about your sob story. I don't. I know that makes me a jerk, but it's a fact. Everybody is being penalized. And share your story on your profile. I'll go read it. I'll comment. I will feel empathy for you. I don't mean that I don't care about that. But what happens is every time a veteran, or anybody for that matter, says something in support of police officers, there's 4,000 hippies that jump on and freak out about my support of people who I know are human beings. The people who I know do what they do because they care. The people that I know, most of them are opposed to fictitious, foolish laws. Most of them. And most of them that I know are in a for real conflict in their hearts and minds. The ones that I know, the ones that I have had opportunities to have intimate relationships or communications with. EMT, corrections officers, state patrol, federal, different people that do different things. The majority of the ones that I know do what they do because they want to catch bad guys and help good people. I don't know many bullies that say that. I don't. But there are bullies who are also police officers, and that's a fact. And we know that. Why? Because we see it. We can't pretend like it's not there. It happens. So we got to do something with it. We have to talk about it. And we have to talk about cannabis. It has to be discussed. It can't just be some little thing. It has to be talked about. Right? If there was a mass amount of child molesters running rampant through the streets of Omaha, it would be talked about loudly, often. Why? Because it's an atrocity. It's the invasion of the inalienable rights of an innocent human being. That's wrong. Not only illegal, but morally and ethically, the tribe will go kick Bob in the face for hurting baby. That's what we will do. right? Remember we talked earlier about the model of a tribe, and there's 10 people, and one guy named Bob is going around kicking babies in the face, and all the rest of the tribe comes up and says, no, Bob, no. We're not going to let you do that, Bob. And Bob's like, screw you, and he goes to kick a baby in the face, and then me and Steve and Ian and Sean and Nick, we all jump on him, and we throat punch him until he stops kicking babies. Not because we want to hurt Bob. No, we care about Bob. We love Bob, in fact. Bob's a part of our 10-person tribe. If Bob dies, it's going to get really awkward, you know? It's going to suck. But Bob, I'll kill you if you don't stop hurting innocent babies. I'll kill you, Bob. I will, and I won't do it unethically, and I won't do it in a way that means like vindictively. I don't want to kill you, Bob, but I will if you don't stop kicking babies. Do you see the model here? I'm sort of trying to paint a picture. I'm trying to highlight a point that a lot of the police officers that you, person who maybe disagrees with everything I'm saying right now, this person, I'm fictitious person I'm trying to argue with, right? Barbecue Bob. There we are. The persons on Facebook who would disagree with my position that we need to be much more compassionate and considerate to the fact that many police officers, law enforcement, first responders, and corrections officers have extensive PTSD that is undiagnosed, untreated, and they're trying to deal with it every day. Many of them are dealing with it with alcohol and booze. A lot of them are dealing with it with copious amounts of prescriptions, and it's not working a lot of the times. These dudes are on literal edge all the time because they're in their combat zone. How would you feel if any of you guys out there are combat veterans that have been to combat? How would you feel if you lived your life every freaking day in country and that was your life and your family was there and your kids were there and your friends were there and your dojo was there and your hiking trails was there and your dog kennel was there? Everything was in combat zone, dude. You would never rest. I would never rest. I would never feel like I could rest. I would feel like I would be coming out of my skin all the time. And granted, I have PTSD and anxiety, so for me, it bothers me. Some of these guys have been really, really, really good at keeping some of their symptoms down, man. But when you see these behaviors of police officers that's bad and atrocious and egregious, I sometimes wonder, man. Is it okay for people to behave badly to innocent people? Never. No, not okay. Not okay, Jack. Not okay. However, is there a measure or means of understandability? Yes. Oh, here you go. I'm gonna drop the bucket here. I'm gonna drop the dime or whatever. I'm gonna sort of drop the mic here. Here it goes. The fact is, many police officers who work in areas that are predominantly filled with people that don't want them alive experience real trauma when a lot of times, not all the time, but a reasonable amount of time, they want to help those same people that want to kill them. And friends, I know that feeling very well. And if you've been to combat, you know that feeling well as well. So if you're a combat veteran and you're ready to piss on a cop, that's not all right, man. It's not. Is it all right to piss on what a cop does? Sure, especially if it's crappy. Say it loudly and proudly. If it's wrong, say it aloud. If you're a police officer and you're listening to this, thanks, man. I appreciate what you do, especially if you're not a bully. But if you're a bully, stop it. Get to jiu-jitsu, get better, get crushed, lose your ego, get on some good workout routine. Stop taking any prescription drugs that are killing your brain and killing your empathy and destroying you and making you into a zombie. Stop using booze to medicate your symptoms. Stop being a bully. Get help. Get accountable. Do push-ups all the time. Stop being a bro. Don't do that. Right? That's what I would say. But to the other guys, the guys that aren't that way, keep doing what you're doing. Influence people. Love people. Be kind. Do your job diligently with integrity. Please, I'm trusting you. That doesn't seem unreasonable to say, right? That doesn't seem bad to say. But a lot of people are willing to crap on that. A lot of people are. Why? Why? Because of their perspective, man. Their perspective needs shifted. The perspective is that police officers are bad because they're enforcing bad laws. I don't know. I don't know if that's right or wrong. Maybe that can be an opinion you can have or not have. But you need to have that opinion or not have it. And don't allow it to forcibly control the way you look at an individual human being that matters, okay? The number of police officer suicides is probably just as high, if not maybe a little bit lower, than veterans. just because of the numbers of people who have worked in the jobs in recent years. That's a really hard job. And if you are going to tell me that maybe that job shouldn't exist, you're like, well, I don't know if that job should exist, Tim. I don't even think that should be a thing, you know. A lot of people say that. I mean, a lot of people have said that. They're like, you know, I just don't know, Tim. I just don't know. And that's really where it ends, man. That's really dumb. I mean, we shouldn't let it end that way. Should we? I don't know. Seems like that's a lazy way out. Seems like that's a really lazy way out. Seems like the better response would be to say, I have an opinion and I have a position and here it is. You know? Seems like that's a better thing to say. Seems like that's a better thing to say. I think cops should get paid more. I agree with Nick Evans. I think cops should get paid more. I do. Why? Why? Because if they got paid more, then there would be a lot more training requirements. Because if you have police officers going through a year of jiu-jitsu before they're even allowed to step on the streets, they're going to make good police officers. You're going to get an enforcement of police that are more interested in helping people than hurting people. And the tools and resources that they use and utilize on their belts gets smaller and smaller because they're more and more efficient and effective. And so I really, really strongly believe that if we expect more out of police officers, we have got to communicate better. Veterans, we've got to. We have got to tell police officers that we appreciate the good things you do. And also, please help us to restructure these laws that both you and I disagree with. Let's do that together in a resourceful way that doesn't make you have to incriminate me or me have to incriminate you. We can join hands and do this thing together because we can all agree that penalizing someone for growing something that can grow wild in your backyard is not okay. I'm not suggesting anyone go and break the law, and I'm not saying that anybody should or does or will. I live in a state where it's not legal, and I don't intend upon going to jail anytime soon. I don't like it. Doesn't sound fun. Plus, I like jiu-jitsu, and I don't imagine the jiu-jitsu that goes on in jail is anything I'm interested in at all. But I will say that it's a scary idea for the people that I know that choose to take those chances. It's tough. It's a really difficult thing. The parents that I know with kids who are handicapped, dude, kids who are really handicapped, and they're choosing to put themselves on the line to become felons to get their kids that oil that their kid needs to get better. I know families all over, man, and it's terrifying to be those families, to imagine that. I can't even imagine that. It's so horrendous. So horrendous. And I just don't understand it. Seems like more should be said about it. Seems like we should give a crap a lot more. Seems like that's a better thing to do. Like it's better to give a crap more. Is there a relationship between PTSD and police officers and the current political climate? Yes, in my opinion. What is that relationship? I believe it's symbiotic. I believe one necessitates the other, and one necessitates the other. The current political climate is a result of bad legislation and over-policing. Yeah. I'm going to need you to come in on Saturday. Lumberg. It stings. It's true, though. Over-policing, over-militarizing the police, and enforcing bad legislation. You know, they ignore some of the other legislation that says things like, you know, you can't curse out loud, or you can't spit on the sidewalk, or if you release me from jail, I have to get a horse and a gun and 40 acres or something. You know, I mean, many of these laws are as antiquated as the other. Every argument that's anti-gun comes from somebody who views laws that are historic as outdated. Like, the law, the Second Amendment, right? They say that's just an outdated law. It shouldn't exist. It's bad. They say that, or it didn't mean that, is what they say. They do the same thing with the cannabis argument. You say, well, you know, when it was made legal, it was because of this, and it was because of that, and it's because of this, and we should make it, and the U.S. government has a copyright and all this stuff. And it's like, I get that. I understand that. Okay, valid arguments, blah, blah, blah. That's not really actually the way it's going to get happened. I don't think it's going to get changed. I don't think so at all. And the reason I don't think that is because it hasn't. Incrementalism hasn't worked in many different areas over a variety of different subjects, and incrementalism doesn't often work in many ways here. Decriminalization in the state of Nebraska was one of the biggest steps backwards, in my opinion. It just paved the way for more people to be penalized. Harder. The Decriminalization Act in Nebraska basically states that if you possess less than 28 grams of flowered cannabis, cannabis buds, flower, whatever, or keef or whatever, I guess, you in the state of Nebraska, they take your substance, they take your paraphernalia, they write you a ticket, and they send you on your way. And that's how that works in Nebraska. If you have more than that, it's a bigger charge. And oil or concentrates, which the extracted hemp oil is what a lot of families are using for their epileptic children. Veterans are using it in all over Colorado and Washington for almost curing traumatic brain injury symptoms, and it's amazing, and it's an essential medicine because it really removes absolutely any byproduct at all, no carbon plant matter at all. It's literally just 100% medicine, purely extracted, and you should look it up. There's a guy named Rick Simpson that makes it. There's another couple guys that make it. I have friends that make it. There's different methods. You can use naphtha. You can use alcohol. Different methods all over the world that use it. But what the overwhelming message from the medicine community, and this is, you can Google this stuff. This isn't just my lunatic words. The overwhelming message is that this is medicine, and it's working. Steve Talley added, unless you're a minor, then your family endures a nightmare for at least 6 months. Exactly. It's so terrible. So terrible, man. I wonder, man, because there's a whole system here. We're looking at for-profit prisons and for-profit pharmaceutical companies, for-profit doctors, for-profit law enforcement agencies. Tim, no, they're local government. They're not for-profit. Okay. Google search and seizures. Just Google illegal search and seizures, and then pick a state. I know I sound like a tinfoil hat wearing lunatic, but I'm just saying these are things that are happening, you guys. We can't just pretend like they're not. We can't. The argument needs to be made to some degree and discussed. I don't want you at all to think that I think it's okay for people to do wrong things to innocent people, whether you're a police officer or not. But the interactions that I've had with police officers up until this point has been all right. I personally have experienced nothing but reasonableness. Now, I've not had good experiences with all police officers I've interacted with in a professional aspect. Some of them has been bad. I used to do bad things, believe it or not. I know it's hard to believe. So sometimes it's hard and sometimes it's difficult to put to piecemeal together my view of police officers. But I had the opportunity to do some good things with one of them recently, and in the last 6 months. And it's just the experiences I've had with some of these folks have just been amazing. It's given me a different perspective shift, for sure. And it's given me the ability to maybe look at things from a different light. Maybe the symptoms that I'm facing are not all that dissimilar to some of the symptoms they're facing. And maybe they're going home and drinking a fifth of whiskey just to deal with it, or a six-pack, or whatever. How many of them would wish or want maybe to be able to go home and puff on a vaporizer before going to bed instead of drinking booze and taking pills? They puff on a vaporizer 3 times and it puts them to sleep and their mind doesn't race and they don't feel like crap, and then they wake up in the morning, they're fine and they're ready to go to work. I just wonder, you know what I mean? I wonder. I know that sounds crazy, right? But it seems like if it's a medicine that helps veterans in states where it's legal, it might be a medicine that could help police officers with PTSD. I don't know. I know that sounds like, crazy talk, right? But it seems consistent to me to say that if you're struggling with a symptom or an illness, and that symptom or illness is debilitating enough that it's affecting your work or your capability to do your job, you should find medicine for that. And if you're able to, you should find the cheapest, most effective, most efficient, and also most natural method that you can. You should, if you're able to. And so I don't know. Maybe at some point we'll have the opportunity to have a police officer on, whether, anonymous or retired or something, and we can have some candid talk. If anybody knows a police officer that would be willing to maybe have a candid discussion, and it doesn't have to be on the mic. I'd love it to just be off the mic and grab a few quotes if I could, or we can be on the mic and unanimous, and I can, we can hide the voice, or I can just interview him and then write down the quotes. I really want to talk with a police officer about this issue in an official capacity, because I think it matters. And I think a lot of my veteran friends would love to know from law enforcement that they're not just heartless bullies that want to put everybody in jail. I think it might help. I don't know. I think it might help to know from veterans that there's law enforcement out there that are, or first responders, law enforcement, whatever you call them, that they're dealing with some for real symptoms. Some of them see the worst of the worst. And while a lot of people in the community of pro natural medicine, they're really quick to piss on cops. They're really quick to crap on them and say crappy things about them. The fact is, there's police officers out there that are stopping child molesters, right? There's police officers out there that are saving women's lives and men's lives. There's police officers out there that are stopping a man from beating a woman to death. Right now, there's a police officer stopping a rape. Right now, there's a police officer stopping a child molester. Right now. You know what I mean? Right now, that's happening. I'm sure of it. In this country, as many states as there are, and cities and municipalities and police officers all over, that's happening right now. There's a police officer right now saving somebody's life. So what I'm just trying to tell you is that if you're ready to crap on a cop just because he's a cop, you need to really take a close examination of your motives. And, Nick Evans added, I'm willing to say that veterans and police first responders need to conjoin in the idea that we face trauma and need help. It's cohesive, and then the medical side of trauma is nasty. Absolutely. Absolutely, 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 absolutely. That's totally right. Steve, you should shut up and go to Colorado. Or Washington for like a week. Anyway. Guys, I'm going to wrap it up. It's 5:27. I've got a bunch of things to do. You're all beautiful people. You're amazing. If you've listened this long, it's because you like me, I think, or because you wanted to hear my words. I don't know. TimothyLocklear.com is going to get you back to all of the previous podcasts that I've done that I can get managed to upload. If you go to BorisTheServiceDog.com, you can find out about my dumb, amazing, big, tiny, little, cute, black service dog named Boris. He's licking his butt right now, which is beautiful. Hey, Boris, how you doing? He just shook and he said he's doing great. Oh, wait, no, he didn't, because my dog can't talk. Dogs can't talk. So if you see a dog in public, guys, please don't talk to them. Please just talk to their handler, maybe, if they look like they want to talk to you. Steve Talley's going to build some bows, and he's going to help veterans learn how to build them. Nick Evans is going to contact a local brewery, and he's going to tell veterans how to do microbrewery. I'm going to take veterans on hikes as much as I can, and we're going to keep going to jiu-jitsu, and it's going to be amazing. For the more information about the national stuff we're doing, please visit veteransfornaturalrights.org and go to their Facebook page. You're amazing. I'm going to get off of here and go do some stuff that I think I should be doing more. Please share this podcast with your family, with your friends. The more people that share it, the better it is, because the more people see it, it creates all kinds of stuff. Carol, please tell Chuck and Chuck's dog I appreciate him. Steve, go build a bow. Be real.